Welcome back. Yeah, this has been a doozy of a day, but surprisingly going really smooth. Everything like outside of a few hiccups. Yeah, again, thank you for all the support and like the interaction we're getting in the chat has been really good. We are still taking donations, and we just passed the $16,000 mark. Almost. Just below it. But I'm foreshadowing. But if you call now, yeah, and like if you can keep helping us get the word out and plugging it, really appreciate it. So I'm very excited for our next speaker. So let me introduce them. Elena Blair is an award-winning lifestyle, family, and newborn photographer based in Seattle. She's also an educator, sharing the hard-earned knowledge she's gained over the past decade, shooting hundreds of families and thousands of children. She's taught on a number of online platforms, including Creative Live and Click & Company. And now I'm actually just going to read what Elena wrote. So pretend that I'm her, I guess. Over the past decade, I have seen plenty of artists burn out and fade away, and I don't want that for you. Your creative gifts needs to be shared with the world. I have also learned one thing that is essential for success in art and business, and I'm going to share that with you. Everything you need to succeed is already inside of you, and I'm going to help you tap into that. Her talk is entitled The Key to Success in Business and Life. Elena, the virtual floor is yours, and it's really nice seeing your face.
Hi, guys. Okay, so let me share my screen. And I'm assuming you guys will tell me if I'm not sharing it.
No, so far you're doing great.
Yeah, looks good?
It looks perfect.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I am just completely honored to have been asked to be part of this event. I have been admiring so many of these artists for so long, and to be among them is such an honor. And huge shout out to the Image Salon for putting such an important event together so quickly. Major props to you guys. But I only have 20 minutes, so I'm going to go quickly and make sure that I stay on track so you guys don't cut me off. So who am I? Who the heck am I? Like Bryce said, I'm Elena S. Blair. I am a lifestyle photographer based out of Seattle, Washington. And I've been in business for about 11 years, which for our industry is kind of a long time. And I want to share how I started, because many of us go into this for a personal reason. And I am absolutely and unapologetically a mom with a camera. I am 100% self-taught, and my son, who's almost 13, which is crazy, but he's the reason why I picked a camera up in the first place. And that was where it all began for me. And what fascinated me was that when I was taking photographs of him, I wasn't capturing what he looked like. I was capturing who he was. He's a really intense guy, and I was capturing his personality, and I became obsessed with that. And I'm a woman of intuition, and something nagged at me to go into business. And I had a toddler. He had become a toddler and a newborn, and I just had a dream in my heart, and I went all in. And I quickly realized that the business side of photography is just as creative, and I loved it. And then a few years into it, I became a speaker and an educator. And I really don't photograph my own children anymore. I actually find passion in the other parts of that photography has brought to my life, but I never forget where I started. And so in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to be completely vulnerable and transparent with you. And I want you to be inspired at the end to be nothing like me, but to be everything like yourself. So here's one thing that I think I can guarantee that all of us have in common. We all want this photography thing to work. We all want to be successful. And for each of us, how we define success is 100% unique. Some of us, it's a monetary thing. We want to make a certain amount of money. We want to be able to support our families. Some of us want to get published. Whatever it is. Some of us just want to put meaningful art into this world and create art for our families. That's fine, but we all want to be taken seriously. And unfortunately, over the last decade, I've seen so many photographers who were shining so bright completely burn out and fade away. And I don't want that for you, and I don't want that for me, because one thing I know that's for sure is that there is enough business, enough opportunity for every single one of us. There is a place for all of us. Competition doesn't actually exist. So I'm an ordinary person. Everyone that's speaking at this conference, we're ordinary people. And when I started, I was a full-time newborn intensive care nurse. And there was this voice in my head saying, like, who the hell do you think you are, Elena? You are not an artist. You have no business in this industry. And it really took me a long time to take myself seriously. And to be honest, I still struggle with that. I think a lot of us in the creative space, we struggle with feeling like imposters, but I stay grounded and I remind myself that why I'm doing this, it's sacred. This work is sacred. And when I was a nurse, I was helping people with like life or death situations. And I had a very tangible reason to know that what I was doing was important. It took me a long time to feel that same weight, that same importance in photography, but it's there. What we are doing matters. And so if you're doubting yourself, the very fact that you are here watching this conference today, that means that what you're doing matters, period. End of story. You don't need any more validation. And I'm a family photographer, and I have to say, like, it's not as sexy as saying, like, oh, I'm a commercial photographer, I'm a fashion photographer, I shoot high-end weddings, all families and newborns for me, you guys. And I may never have something like on a billboard in Times Square, I know that, but that doesn't matter to me because I stand firm in the importance of this sacred work that we are doing as photographers. We are capturing little pieces of humanity. We are documenting history and providing so much value to the world with our art. I don't know about you guys, but like through this COVID crisis, I keep receiving random pictures from people I haven't heard from for years and years, because why? Photography is a thread that keeps us all together. Even if it's just a snapshot, it's so important. And we get to be our own bosses and build these businesses as creators every day. We get to wake up every day and fuel our passion. It's so amazing. But here is the thing. So many of us, when we go into business, we lose sight of the passion, the very reason we started, and we burn out and fade away. And it's kind of a sad truth. And a lot of people like to blame it on business. Oh, well, the business sucked everything out of me. I'm not a business person. Or the very popular, well, it's a saturated community and there's too much competition. And so they burn out and fade away. And I don't believe that to be true. And I actually know that when done right, business can actually add fire to your passion, making it even like more important, making you feel even more compelled to share with the world this unique gift that you have. So what gives? You're like, I want that key to success, Elena, get to it. So it's actually really, really simple. And many of us make the exact same mistake, and that is that we don't trust ourselves. We don't stay rooted in why we do this, in our passion, in our why. And we change how we photograph people because we think we have to in order to make money. And I'm going to say that again. We change the way that we photograph people because we think that we have to in order to make money. So about 2 years into, opening my little business, I was like super burnt out. I didn't like the work that I was creating, and I already had a job as a nurse. So I was like, what am I doing to myself? I've got 3 kids now. Why am I doing this? And so instead of just giving up, I had a portfolio review. And what she said to me was, your personal work is deep and moody and meaningful, and your commissioned work is boring and flat. It has no depth or soul. Why? And that was when I realized that I needed to only create for myself, and that was how I was going to make this work. And so I rebranded, and I decided I would never photograph anyone in a way that wasn't meaningful for me. And at that time, my portrait business exploded. I started receiving international recognition for my style of family photography, getting asked to speak and write. And it's because I was being true to myself. It's that simple. We are visionaries. We are artists. People that are photographers have a gift. You have a superpower. You see the world differently than everyone else. My friend Bree Thurston posted this years ago, and I've used it in many talks with her permission. And it's that she says, this is what an ordinary person sees. And this is just like a regular kitchen, drawers open, it's messy. This is what a photographer sees. Look at that. Look at that difference. This always just like brings this point home so perfectly. We are visionaries. We see the world differently. So when do we stop trusting that, our inner magic? When? For many of us, it's when we go into business. It's when we start doing it for someone else. And so what you have to ask yourself is, what do you do? And you're saying like, Elena, I'm watching a photography conference. I know what I do. I'm a photographer. But I'm sorry, it has to be more than that. Nobody on this planet sees things the way that you do. You are absolutely unique. And here is a perfect example of this. This is my Dear friend Sandra Cohn, who is speaking tomorrow, she and I are each other's competition, yet we both have thriving businesses in Seattle. Her photograph is the one on the left, mine is the one on the right. We both photograph maternity clients, and these couldn't be more different. They're even standing in the same pose. Why? Because we have different visions. We have a different why, a different what. How we approach our work is unique to us, and we stand by it and we own it, and that's why we both are very successful. I promise you that anyone who you see who is successful, anyone who you admire, any Instagram account you're obsessing over right now, we all do it, that they're head over heels in love with what they do. And they refuse to do anything but exactly what they do, exactly how they want to, period. Being a good photographer isn't enough. We're all using the same cameras, same lighting equipment, same editing presets, same genres. We have to remember our own magic, the very reason why we got into this in the first place, and trust that unique gift. And if you're saying to me or yourself right now, I'm not unique, I promise you are. That no two people in this world are the same. No two photographers have the same vision. You have to remember that. So when you're taking a photo of another person, you're probably thinking, well, I'm taking a photo of someone else. How does that have anything to do with me? But what I want you to know is that every piece of work that you have, it has to be infused with you, no matter who it is that you're doing it for. And one of the biggest things that photographers do, the biggest mistakes they make, is they take themselves out of their work and they start creating what everyone else is creating. This is so essential. You have to be part of your art. And I want to be transparent with you. I am not a photographer because I love photography. I'm not a big gearhead. I'm not going to talk to you about technicalities. I don't teach about that. What I'm absolutely into photography for is the human connection that I capture. What I do is I witness love and connection. I don't try to take a perfect portrait. I do my part to document humanity. I am communicating love and connection with my camera and sharing that with the world with this magnificent art form. That's what I do. And I make this mistake all the time, you guys. I stray every day. When I got asked to speak at this conference, for instance, I saw the lineup and I started clouding. It clouded my vision. I started doing the comparison thing and I thought, oh my God, you're one of the only photographers speaking here. What if nobody takes you seriously? Maybe you should teach about something technical. Because of course I know about the technicalities, right? But I stopped and I did a deep dive and I said, no, that's not your why. That's not why you speak, Elena. You like to speak about the passion behind photography. You like to speak about infusing yourself. And so I decided I was going to stay rooted in that why, and I was going to keep with my message. And here I am getting past it and speaking about it. So I want you to know that we all get through this. We all go through this. So what you have to do is let go of perfection. You have to let go of perfection. Ben Okri says, he says it perfectly. He says, where there is perfection, there is no story to tell. You cannot be perfect. It just isn't going to work. You have to forget trends and forget what everyone else is doing and figure out what it is that you do. You are a magnificent and unique and amazing artist. So think about it. What do you do? And sometimes you have to break some rules to do that. In order to infuse yourself into your work, you have to allow yourself to be different and allow yourself to break some rules. And when you see something that I created, I'm in every piece that I create. I'm all over it. Now, the next thing that you have to think about is why you do what you do. Now, back in March, I was at this mastermind. I had to come home early because of the COVID crisis. And when you really know about what your why is, this is how you get through hard times. This is how you persevere. I got home from rubbing elbows with like big names in the industry. I felt all important. And then I got home and all of a sudden I was like wearing sweats, making a pizza in the oven and feeling completely lost. Like, what am I doing? Is this even important anymore? But then I dug deep into my why and I remembered, oh yeah, like what you're doing is so important. Photography matters. Your contribution to this world, to the creative world, it matters. And so I cried about it and I got sad and then I pulled my bootstraps up and I continued to create. Because why? Because I am deeply rooted in why I do it. And that's why I continue even through hard times. I want you to be so confident in your why that you never have to doubt what you're doing. So if you know why you do something, even when somebody doesn't like it, you don't doubt it because you have this soul connection to your work and your business and your mission. You can tap into this. Now, this can be hard to tap into, and I could teach this for a long time, but one way that you can really tap into why you're doing what you're doing is by focusing on how you want your work to feel, not how you want your work to look. When we're new or when we're trying to, figure things out, it can be very easy to be like, well, there's this lighting technique and there's this composition thing and there's all these technical things I need to learn about. And so all you're thinking about is the visual aesthetic. But I want you to think about how your work is going to make somebody feel, because that's what you do as an artist. You evoke an emotional response with your work. So think about that. What emotions would you like to be behind your work? And that's going to help you tap into your why. So any piece of work that you make, personal, commissioned, there should be no divide. Your work should feel like you. Now, one time I heard Jose Villa speak, and I'm not going to quote him perfectly, but what he said was that when you're when you're going into somebody's website or somebody's Instagram or whatever, wherever they're showing their work, it should feel like you're stepping into their living room. It should be that connected. And that's how it resonated so perfectly with me. If you walk into my living room, you guys, it's a mess. Me and my children are loud and intense. We have big emotions. And my work is like that. My work is messy and intense. I own it. So who are you, and how is that going to be infused with your work? I just want to quickly show you examples of my different genres that I shoot and how it all feels the same. So these are my 3 kiddos. This was like overhead light. They're not dressed perfectly. This is a family in the park or on a field with beautiful backlight. This is a newborn in the home of the newborn with just one window. A fine art school portrait, so kind of like a studio type of photograph, yet it feels the same as my other work, right? A Fresh 48 session, this is in a hospital room. Maternity session. There should be no divide. Anytime I pick up my camera, it's for me. It's executing what I do and why I do it every single time. This is what is going to set you apart. This is how you succeed. And it takes courage, especially when we're new. It actually feels better and easier to blend in because you feel like an imposter. I get it. I was doing that with this assignment to speak. I was feeling like I wanted to blend in a little bit. It takes courage. I'm sharing this photo because every time I share this on Instagram, it gets, like 3 or 4 times that I've shared it, it's got reported because this mother is breastfeeding a baby while being kissed by her husband. People are offended by that. I get it. I push boundaries with my work. I want to attract and repel. I'm okay with it. I want my mothers to know that I still see the beautiful, sexy person that they are, mother or not. And that's okay that not everybody likes it. You have to be brave. You have to be willing to push boundaries and willing to make people unhappy. And sometimes this takes some serious soul searching to figure out, but I'm telling you, you have to do it. I want you to do it because this is how you're going to make it. So in this very short time that I had with you today, what I want you to know is that the key to success isn't to be like me or any of the amazing speakers that you're hearing over the next couple days. Be inspired, but we cannot help you by making you be like us. We would be terrible educators if we wanted you to be like us. What we're here to tell you, or what I'm here to tell you, is that the success that you want, it already lies within you. Like you possess in your heart and your soul and your mind and your DNA, everything that you need to make it. And what you have to contribute to this world, it matters. It's important. It's necessary. The fact that you're called to do it means it needs to happen. And it's far more interesting or amazing than anything that we can teach you. And that very passion, that reason that you're here watching this right now, you need to dig deep into it and hold on tight to it with a tight, tight grip. Of course, you have to learn skills. I want you to do that. And I want you to be inspired. Of course, I am. And I get education all the time. I'm always self-educating. But I want you to know that you already have it inside of you. So here is the thing. You got to believe in yourself. No one's ever going to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself. You have to go claim what's yours. It's already there. So go get it. Believe in yourself. I believe in you. We all believe in you here. I promise. I want you to be here in 10 years telling your story and contributing to this incredible global community of photographers that we have. I want you to believe in abundance. There is a place for every single one of us. Every single one of us here. That I promise. We're all just on different parts of the path. And I cannot wait to see what you have to contribute to this world because I know it's going to be good. That's it. That's me on Instagram.
That was really good. I really like that last bit you said about like educators, like good educators encouraging you to be you and not them. But I got some questions for you.
Okay. Am I supposed to stop sharing my screen here, or is this good?
I mean, it's good. You just follow
Okay.
your true.
Thanks. Right.
Okay, first question. What do you do? How do you regroup when you feel like you've somehow lost your way, lost your why along the way?
That's such a good question. And so even like I said, like while preparing this talk, I was losing it a little bit. You start to, it's so easy to lose why you start when there's so much to, so much to consume out there. And what I do a lot of journaling. I try to get quiet and just really think back to like why I even care about being here. Why do I even care about, making art and sharing it with the world? And I remember that what I do matters. You have to just really, really practice a lot of self-love to get through that. And it's normal to lose your way. It's normal to forget those things, especially in hard times. But I think that when you do the work to really figure it out, it's a lot easier to tap into it.
Nice. And when you've like discovered your why, how do you go about finding the right people that your why is going to resonate with?
Ah, God, that's such a good question. So this is one thing that I want to make clear is that you can never make somebody like your work. So like you can never make a certain, like, I will hear people say, well, how do I convince my clients that this style, whatever it is for them? You aren't going to. They may no longer be your clients anymore. So what you have to do is really create relevant content that is meaningful and valuable, and it's going to speak to somebody that will appreciate it. You do have to, I could get into marketing, like you have to do the research of figuring out who your ideal client is. That's going to help you kind of communicate a little bit more clear, but just speaking your truth as much as possible, really.
Nice. And I guess like two more quick little questions. The one is, what company do you use to print your albums through?
Yep, I use Miller's Lab. Love them.
Nice. And another question is, do you have any book recommendations, photography related or not, that changed or influenced or supported the way you work?
Wow, what a good question. So I have read, let's see, The War of Art is incredible. And Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert is another one that really changed my thinking. Those would be two that I would recommend to get started on.
Yeah, The War of Art, and I listened to Big Magic on an audiobook while I was working a job cutting grass all summer, and I like listened to it 3 times, like through on repeat. It was game changer.
Yeah, there's so much about success that, we all want tangible things, and those are important. But like I saying in this, like there's so much about it that just is about believing in yourself, because I think that that's what gives you the, the power to get through the times when things are hard, or when you don't believe, or when other people you feel like aren't supporting you. So
nice. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's it. Thanks for making the time. It's really nice seeing your face on this setup, and I hope you and your family are doing safe and well.
Yes, thank you. You too. Thank you everyone for donating. This is such a great cause.
Thank you. It is time for our mandatory... No, nobody smokes here. It's time for our mandatory break. We'll be back shortly with, Dr. Tamaya Colvin.